What we are doing today is respiration. So respiration. Firstly, before we start, you need to know what respiration is. What's respiration? So respiration is the process of life. That is, when you eat food, the main reason why you eat food is to break the food down so that the food can yield energy that you need. And this energy that the food that is broken down is mainly to liberate energy. That's catabolism. So respiration, it has to do with, it's not only dealing with breathing in and breathing out. We have two types of respiration. We have the external respiration and we have the internal respiration. The internal respiration is the same thing as cellular or tissue respiration. Most of us, when they ask us what the types of respiration, we are going to say anaerobic and aerobic respiration. That's wrong. If they ask you what's the types of respiration based on the presence of oxygen or absence of oxygen, you can say that. And even that, it will even be other internal respiration. But external respiration, it has to do with breathing. It has to do with what? Breathing. So if they ask you what's the meaning of internal respiration, that one, it has to do with the process whereby the oxygen that we breathe into the body is used to break down the food that we eat. That's internal respiration. So please don't make that mistake again. If they ask you what types of respiration, you are going to say we have external respiration, which is breathing, and we have internal respiration. This is like breaking down. This is the real respiration, because this one, it helps us in liberating energy. So I hope you understand. So respiration is the process of releasing energy. So you can see now we are not saying otherwise. So it's the process of releasing energy from the breakdown of glucose. So that is the main and fundamental definition of respiration. So respiration takes place in every living cell all of the time, and all cells need to respire in order to produce the energy that they require. So please take note of that. And what do we use all these energies for? We use this energy to carry our all the things we use our energy for. So all those, and when you have an athlete suffering of a scar or an injury, so that is part of what we use the energy for. You know that you have to like the wound that you have in your body, they have to heal. So those energy are also utilized in that aspect, and all the chemical reactions that carry out that is taking place in the body, they all require energy. So let's look at the types of respiration. So I've already given you the types already. I said we have external and internal respiration. That's the types of respiration that we have. So please don't make that mistake. It's not anaerobic or aerobic respiration. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So we have external and we have what? And we have internal respiration. I say external respiration is the same thing as breathing. So if I ask you what the types of external respiration, that's where we have exhalation. That is the process whereby you breathe out carbon dioxide and you breathe in oxygen. Inhalation, oxygen into the body. I hope you understand. So that is so that's internal respiration. So internal respiration is the cellular respiration that we normally talk. So this type, if I now ask you what are the types of cellular respiration, you can now tell me that we have aerobic and we have anaerobic. I think I have cleared this table now, because most of the students, they make mistake in this aspect. So when do we have aerobic respiration? When there is presence of oxygen. When do we have anaerobic? When we have absence of oxygen. That's when we have anaerobic respiration. So anaerobic, look at the word an. At times an means not. So if I say anisotropic, not isotropic, so things like that, that term is too much for your level. So let's continue. So another thing is, now let's go to I'm not going to be going deep in this aspect. Maybe in our faith class we're going to be talking on this thing because this is a free class. It's just a teaser video. So let me go to some things that you need to know. So, and that's respiratory surfaces and organs. So that's what we are doing now. So we have respiratory surface and we have organs. So respiratory surfaces or organs are the media, that is like a medium, or in the plural of medium is media. Medium is singular, while media is plural. So are the media of gaseous exchange. That is, they are the place where the respiration takes place. Or gaseous exchange rather takes place, because respiration, we cannot say respiration is taking place in one place, but we can say we have respiratory organ. I hope you understand. So we can just say, that's why we are not using respiration here, we say gaseous exchange. Gaseous exchange is different from respiration. I hope you understand. So but we can say respiration is part of gaseous exchange is part of respiration. So they are the media of gaseous exchange between the organism and their surrounding. So that's just by the way. Now let's look at some organism and their respiratory surface. So please, this question only come out from this aspect. I don't know, they like it. Please, that's why I come to this topic. I know they like asking questions like this. So these are some strategies you need to take notes. So when I start doing question now, you will see how much question they will ask on it. So look at this. So organisms like protozoa, example of organisms that are protozoa, the amoeba, paramecium. So they respire through their body surface. So that's how they respire. That is their respiratory organism, body surface. So if they ask you example of protozoa, let me try to write it. Oh, there's no space. E.g. amoeba. So they use what? Body surface. So another one is if we have like earthworm. Let me try to divide it. Earthworm. So what do they use? They use their skin. And their skin is somehow in a way that their skin is moist. So these are part of the features a respiratory surface must have. A respiratory surface should not be dry, it should be moist. There must be like little water on it, so that oxygen will be able to digest very well. So which organism again? We have fishes. There's one code that will give you. Most of organisms that are living in the water, they use gill. Most, I don't say all. Most of them, they use gills. That is, whenever you see an organism living in the water, most of them, you hear me saying most, and I'm going to tell you the reason. The reason is because whale, you know that whale is a fish, right? It's a fish, but whale is a mammal. So, and you know whale is in water, so whale will be using lungs, despite the fact that it is in the water. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So that's just it. So that's why I said most, not all organisms. There are even some organisms that we don't know that they are like whale, that they are not using gills. So please, maybe I should even say I don't say that again. But most of the time, organisms that are living in water, they normally use gills for respiration. So insects, so please take note of this, that insects, they respire through the trachea. Please don't go and say spiracles. Spiracles is different from trachea. Spiracles, they are like, if this is the body of the insects, I don't know how I can draw insects here, but if this is their body, you know their body normally looks like this. So this, like a hole, is a spiracle. Please take note. This is not their respiratory surface, but it's just like an hole. That's spiracle. But trachea is the main respiratory organ that they use. Please don't laugh at my diagram. It's not an insect. So that's just it. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So I'm spending more time than I even imagine. So let's quickly run. So we also have spiders. Spiders, what do they use? They use long books. Please take note of that. Then we have most organisms that are land vertebra. Land vertebra. And also please take note of this. Crabs. Crabs. They use what? What do they use? They use gills. Please take note of that. Crabs. They use what? Gills. So they are crustacean. That's their, I don't know how I can classify them, but they are crustacean. So that's crabs. Then we also have land vertebrate, that is we that will live on the land. So this is just the logic. Most organisms that live on the land, they respire using what? Lungs. Now, if they now ask you, where exactly does the respiration take place for organisms that are land vertebrate, it takes place exactly in the alveoli. Alveoli is a part of the lungs where respiration takes place. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So alveoli is very small, just like a small, tiny part of lungs. I hope you get. The plural is alveoli and the singular is alveolus. So don't be confused. So we also have bronchi, bronchus, and things like that. So let's continue. Now let's look at characteristics of, before we go to the question. So unfortunately the question is there already. But let me try to manage this. Characteristics of respiratory surface. So there are some characteristics that a respiratory surface must have. For respiratory surface or organ, what are these characteristics and a respiratory surface must have? Number one, I don't know if I should. Number one, it must be moist. That's the first thing. It must be what? Moist. That is, it must be wet. Wet means moist. Moist is from moisture, water. So please don't be confused. If I say moist litmus paper, it means a litmus paper that I have dipped in the water. Number two, it must be well ventilated. That's the second thing. Number three, it must have a large surface area. So that's why we can use alveoli. Large surface area. And even there's an application in this amoeba. I think we also have paramecium. So there's an application. The application is that if they ask you that why is body diffusion sufficient for some organisms for their respiration, I think the reason is because of their large surface area. So that surface area is very, very applicable. So number four, respiratory surface or organ. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So that's just it. So let's go to the questions before we round up today. Now you can see now your first question is what is the respiratory organ of the crab? And I've told you that they use gills. I don't get it. So you can see that this question is not something that I just kind of let us do that. It's something I know that it normally comes. So please be very, very take it very, very serious. So number two, a grasshopper respires by means of grasshopper. We all know that grasshopper is an insect. Please take note of these things. Grasshopper is an insect, and you know that insect, what they use trachea. But here they go and say trachea to yes, it's still correct. You cannot choose long boobs because long boobs is used by spiders, gills, fish, tadpoles. Lungs, human beings will use it for vertebrates, plant vertebrates. Antenna is on the insect. Even grasshopper has antenna, but antenna is like it's used in sensing smell. It's just like that's why they call it antenna. So please don't confuse this. You can see now I said the body respiratory surface must be well vascularized. So it's part of the characteristics. So the video even getting longer than I expected. So identify which of the following are characteristics of the vertebrate respiratory surface. Number one, it must be moist, that's correct. It must be vascularized, yes. It must be semi-permeable. But number 4 and 5 is wrong. It must not be freely permeable, because not everything should be passing through our respiratory surface. Dry. Your respiratory surface, if it is dry, there is no way oxygen will be able to diffuse. So number 4 and 5 is wrong. So our answer is what? Option A, 1, 2, 3. So that is it. So let's go to number 4. In the mammalian respiratory system, exchange of gases occurs in the what? You cannot choose lungs. Exchange of gases, it occurs in, they don't say the respiratory organ. They are talking of where the respiration occurs, the main place. Then that's what they are asking you. They are not asking you respiratory organ. So these are part of the things you need to know when asking questions. Please take note. So your answer will be alveoli, because alveoli is the part of the lungs where respiration or gaseous system occur mainly. So let us be saying respiration, but let's say gaseous system. So that's alveoli. So lung grooves are used for respiration in wood. We all know that it was spiders. Number 6, gaseous exchange in apes. So apes, they are birds. They fly in the sky. So they normally have some air sac in their body. So that's where respiration, gaseous exchange. Please, I don't know why I keep making that mistake. Gaseous exchange occurs. So the answer is what? Air sac. So number 7, the main respiratory organ of whales is, although it is swimming in water, but whales is a mammal. That is, they are like human beings. They are also rabbits, goats, so they have the same characteristics. So because they are mammals, they respire through using what? Lungs. So gaseous exchange in the bony fish, you know that it is fish in the water. So you know, I said they use what? They use gills. There is lateral lines on the body of fish. Of course, there is lateral line on the body of fish. That is for like detecting vibration. This is the lateral line. Don't mind my diagram. So this is like detecting vibration in the water. For example, if you want to kill it, if you come to the side of the river, the fish is going to detect your presence. You will disturb the area of that water. You will disturb it. So the lateral line is used like to detect the sensation around. So those are part of adaptation. Nostrils, that's for smell. So skin, no. So it's used gills. So gaseous exchange in tadpoles, I said tadpoles. Tadpoles, they are like young toad. The tadpoles that develop into toad. So, but tadpoles, they are not to be living in water before they develop to toad. So in the meantime, they will be using gills. So answer here is what? Gills. So that's that for today's class.
Alright guys, welcome to this biology class. So what we're doing in today's topic is enzymes. So we have some types of enzymes. So actually in biology, what we are really using enzyme for is mainly for digestion. So this topic is actually digestive enzymes. I hope you understand. So it is digestive enzymes. So whether we're in biochemistry now, we may be talking further on other things mainly. But here, what we are mainly talking about in biology is for your own level. It is just what digestion, based on by digestion. So an enzyme is an, now let us define enzyme. So what is the meaning of enzyme? We are going to just look at it, that what do we mean by enzyme? So enzyme is actually a catalyst, and you know what catalysts do? Catalysts, they speed up the rate of reaction, or you can also say they alter the rate of reaction. That is, they can speed up, and they can also what? Slow down. And we know that we have positive catalysts. Positive catalysts, they are the ones that they what? They inhibit, or they slow down a chemical reaction. But here you need to know that enzyme is a catalyst, is a positive catalyst. So let's define enzyme. So enzyme is an organic catalyst. Is an organic catalyst, which is usually what proteinaceous in nature. So not all the time. Not all enzymes are protein. So take note of that. So usually proteinaceous in nature. So it's only one type of enzymes. One example of enzymes that is not a protein, and that is RNA protein. So RNA enzyme, and that's the only enzyme that's not protein. All other enzymes, they are proteinaceous in nature. So that's why we use the word usually. We did not say all are proteinaceous in nature. So we just say what usually, not all. So proteinaceous in nature. So which promotes, when something promotes a reaction, which promotes or speed up chemical changes in the living cell. So that's the enzyme. So there's something you need to know about them, but are not themselves used up. So they are not used up in the process. So take note of that. So enzymes are not used up in the process. So that's just it. So let's go. So enzymes accelerate metabolic reaction without changing their composition. So take note of that. So enzymes accelerate, that is, they speed up, accelerate metabolic reactions without changing their composition in the process. So take note of that. So let's go to types of enzymes. So we have two types of enzymes, and number one, we have intracellular enzymes. And the second one is what? The extracellular enzymes. Now, I told you in biology that what you need to know some terms. The word intra, it means inside, and you see cellular means cell, the cell. Now when they are now talking of intracellular enzymes, so it is the type of enzymes which function inside the cell. So inside cell, so they function inside the cells or living organisms. So that's why we call them intracellular, not extra. If it is extra, that's exterior, outside. So living organisms. So common examples are the enzymes that catalyze cell respiration inside the mitochondria. So there are some enzymes that catalyze cell respiration. That is when we are having respiration. You know, respiration, the main purpose is energy, and mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Mitochondria is where the ATP is produced in the cell. So the enzymes in the mitochondria, you know that mitochondria is inside the cell of a body. So the enzymes inside it is called the intracellular enzyme. So e.g. Cell respiration inside the mitochondria. So take note of that. So let's go to extracellular enzymes. So you already know the answer like that. So you don't even need to say it. So they function what? So they function outside the cell. So that's just it. So they function outside the cell. So they function outside the cell. So they function outside the cell. So the example is extracellular enzymes. So extracellular enzymes are the what? Digestive enzymes. So that's just it. Let's go to classification of enzymes. So we have there was the method they were using for the classification of enzymes before, but that method is no more correct. I hope you understand. So the new method of classifying enzymes is based on the nature of chemical changes brought about on a substrate. So such changes may involve in oxidation, in which case the enzyme will be called an oxidase. It is important to note that the earlier classification based on the substrate and an enzyme works on, e.g., amylases for maltose, proteases for protein, or lipases for lipids. So all these classification they are what? They are no longer correct for biochemical raw. So they are not what's correct, and they are biochemically they are not. We cannot really say they are. So they are biochemically acceptable. So as a result of above information, so enzymes are classified as shown. So let me show you the table showing you the classification of enzymes. So we have 6 of them, though now due to, I think on 2019 they have discovered another one which makes it number 7, that's translocases. But for your level you just need 6. So let me compile things for you. So just say we have what? 6 classes of enzymes. So that's just, so you can just know that on the last one, which is translocases, in case of theory, or maybe a person just wants to use something to cajole you. So number 1, the class of enzymes. The first class is, which is the main thing that you should know in case for digestion. So because all the enzymes that you know, they are what? That are digestive enzymes, they are hydrolysis. So take note of that, all the digestive enzymes. And now, why is this enzyme involved in digestion? The reason is because digestion is actually, what's another name for digestion? It is hydrolysis. And what is hydrolysis? Hydrolysis is breakdown of large substances into smaller ones, especially with the addition of water. So when you add water to a large substance and it breaks down, that is hydrolysis. So the same thing with digestion. When you drink water, when maybe you just eat a few mountain of eba or amala, so after, or pounded yam, so after eating it, you now pour water, you notice that the food is going to digest. So the enzyme that is working is hydrolase. So all the hydrolase, uh, they are involved in digestion. So they are digestive enzymes. So now let's look at their action on substrates. So they catalyze the hydrolytic cleavage or breaking up of carbon, nitrogen, or carbon atoms. So that's their own what function. So they break off carbon or nitrogen or carbon bonds. So they just like break. So things like that. That's their function. So let's go to reductases. So if you look at this word, it looks like oxidation, and this looks like reduction. So the enzymes, you can just see they are the enzymes that involved in redox reaction. And what happens in redox reaction? Oxidation and reduction. So these are the major or the primary purpose of these enzymes. So let's look at the actions on substrate. They catalyze the joining together of two molecules with accompanying hydrolysis of a higher energy bond. So let's go to transferases. So what's the function of transferases? Transferases, they catalyze a transfer group from one substance to another. So that's the function of transferases. So they transfer group. That's their own function. They're going to like transfer group from one place to another. So their name is even telling us, it's giving us clue about them. Hydrolysis, so hydrolysis, oxidoreductases, oxidation and reduction, transferases, transfer of one group to another. So let's go to number 4, which is the class 4, and you should note that they should be accordingly, because they may just ask you class 4 enzymes. You should know that it is isomerases. So it is not that you can arrange them anyhow. There must be a particular way you write it, and the only way you can write it is this method. So you cannot go and put 4 for 3. I hope you get what I'm saying. You cannot interchange it. Even till after your tuition, when you are doing biochemistry, you have to know I class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4, class 5, class 6. So oxidoretostasis, they catalyze joining together of two molecules with accompanying hydrolysis. So we are done with that. So transferesis, the transfer group, yes. Isomeresis, what's the function? You hear the word isomer. So isomer, it has to do with, it works on isomers and usually charge the spatial configuration of a molecule in a living cell. So that is the function. So it's changed rather. So it's usually changed. That is, it will change the configuration of a molecule to change it. If it is 2,2,4 trimethyl or whatever, it will change it to another thing. So that's isomerism. So the enzyme that works is isomeresis. So let's go to ligases. So ligases is it catalyze the joining together of two molecules with accompanying hydrolysis of a high energy bond. So that's the function of what ligase is. That is, joined together two molecules with accompanying what hydrolysis of what of a high energy bond. So let's go to lysis. What's lysis? So lysis has to do with breaking something down. I hope you understand. So lysis means it catalyzes the breaking up of bond by elimination of addition reaction. So now let's look at the characteristics of enzymes. So the first characteristics of enzyme is that it remain unchanged. It remain chemically unchanged at the end of the reaction. So number 2, they are specific in action. So what do I mean by they are specific in action? So they are what? They are specific in action. What do I mean by that? So if you have one or more enzymes, they will act on, they just like division of labor, they will act on specified specific substrates. So example, now there are some padlock, there's only one key that can open them. I hope you understand. So that's just the rule. So they are specific in action. So enzymes react on specific substrates. So enzymes will act on specific substrates. So that's just it. So another thing is that, for example, if you are cooking ewedu or onla or whatever, or ila, which is okra in English. For some of you that you don't hear Yoruba, I'm saying, so okra and jute. Do you understand? Ewedu jute. So you can see now. You should need to clap of them. I'm giving you the English of them. So now, do you need the whole kitchen to put potash inside can? No, you just need very small quantity of can. Then the magic continues. So enzymes is what? It is required, which just like catalyst, in a very small quantities when compared to what you are adding it to. It's very, very small. Another thing is that they act best over a specific range of temperature. This is another thing. They act best over a specific what range temperature. Or between 35 to 40 degrees Celsius. So another thing is that because they are protein, most of them, they are denatured. What we mean by denatured is that they are destroyed. They don't have that nature again. They are denatured or destroyed or destroyed at high temperature. So inactivated at very low temperature. Inactivated at very low temperature. So that's just so let's go to number 6. They act best as specific either acids or alkaline. So their reaction is reversible. That's just it. So their action rather. So enzyme action is retarded by poison or inhibitors. So it is the inhibitors that they stop the work of enzymes. They can be they can be they can be they can be promoting, and the enzyme can promote, while we have some other things that inhibit, and those are inhibitors. So their action is retarded. Enzyme is retarded by promoters and inhibitors. So let's go to number 9. Some are inactive and require a coenzyme or agent to activate them. So that's where coenzyme comes in. So some are inactive and require a coenzyme or agents to activate them. Another thing is that they can function. Let me go to number 10. They can function outside the body of the organism. So outside the body, so they can function outside the body of the organism. That produces them. So the last one is that they are protein in nature. So they are what? Protein in nature, not all of them. I've said that one. But just for your own scope. When you get to biochemistry, if they ask you in MCQ, for those of you who want to study medicine, don't go and say all enzymes are protein. You are wrong. So just take note of that. So here's where we call it a day for enzymes. Thank you for watching. So we are going to continue the topic digestion.